I'd like to make a few comments about the method of proof by contradiction, and to illustrate it, I'll use one of the examples that I gave you on your first class test. In that question, I gave you a new working definition. If you start with a function having domain and range the set of real numbers, then we say that the function f is strictly decreasing if for all pairs of real numbers x and y, if x is smaller than y, then f of x is strictly bigger than f of y. So the question is, if you have a specific function f and you want to prove that it's strictly decreasing, you would have to prove that this statement is true. If you were to use the method of proof by contradiction, you would first look at a useful denial of this statement. And here you have a useful denial of it. It is that there exist real numbers x and y, such that x is smaller than y, and f of x is less than or equal to f of y. Now, when you see a statement like this in a proof, the question is, how should you respond? Well, the answer is it depends on whether you want to prove that it's true or you're assuming that it's true. If you want to prove that a statement like this is true, then you would respond when you see this by choosing x and y in some specific way and then verifying that for that specific choice of x and y, the rest of the statement holds. But on the other hand, if it's something that you're assuming is true, then you would not read it that way. You would merely say, there exist real numbers x and y such that x is smaller than y and f of x is less than or equal to f of y. So those are two very different ways of responding, and it depends entirely on whether you wish to prove that this is true or you're assuming that it's true and you want to make use of that fact. Now, in a proof by contradiction, the idea is that you're starting off by assuming that something like this is true, and then you try to deduce a contradiction from that. So if you had a specific function f and you wanted to prove that it was strictly decreasing using the method of proof by contradiction, the beginning of your proof would read something like the following. You would say, we argue by the method of contradiction, and then you're essentially saying, suppose this useful denial is true. So I'm not trying to prove it, I'm supposing that it's already true. And so I wouldn't say choose x and y real. I would say suppose there exist real numbers x and y such that x is less than y and f of x is less than or equal to f of y.